So, Florida has just passed a bill. That means that predators of children under the age of 12 will now get the death penalty. What are your thoughts on this?
Hello. Welcome, my brothers and sisters. I was a victim of child sexual abuse when I was a teenager. Well, before I was a teenager, into being a teenager. This happened in the Boy Scouts. I've lived here in Florida my whole life. I was raised here. And when it happened, I didn't tell anybody. And my whole entire life until 3.5 years ago, I didn't tell anybody. But myself and about 17,000 other victims have brought a class action suit against the Boy Scouts of America. So in the coming weeks and months, you'll see this organization completely crumble to the ground. It looks like we are going to win the suit. The amount that's being paid out to survivors is $2.857 billion, and that's with a B. I'm starting a new company with some family and friends, and we're going to donate 5% of our monthly profits to help fight human trafficking and child sexual abuse. I've lived with the horror in my mind from this abuse my whole life. And as you can see, I'm not a very young man. So it was quite a few decades of horror, and still is. There isn't a single day that goes by that I don't think about it. And I would just ask that you guys would like this video, share it in every way that you can. I have a link in my bio where you can donate if you'd like to the cause. Who knows how many years this suit will take to finish up, but we're trying to make a difference immediately. So thank you so much, you guys. May peace be upon all of you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you.
Behind the scenes of the Biden crime empire, things can't be as smooth as they appear. What with the World War brewing on two fronts and a bid for the presidency when 70% of the country says no. In fact, the departure of domestic policy advisor Obama puppeteer Susan Rice reeks of a shift in Democratic support of Joe Biden. On top of it all, what had been on the back burner is now boiling over, as now even Mockingbird Media is reporting on the massive sex trafficking and child labor violations surrounding the Mayorkas border time bomb.
This is from the New York Times. Thousands of children have ended up in punishing jobs across the country, working overnight in slaughterhouses, replacing roofs, operating machinery in factories, all in violation of child labor laws. You come to office in 2021, huge surge, reports of trafficking, reports of neglect.
Since the Fair Labor Standard Act of 1938, children under the age of 16 have been restricted from working under the conditions that Mayorkas is exponentially creating.
You are failing miserably. 4 to 5 million people, 1.4 million unknown gotaways. We have no idea who those people are, what kind of security they risk. You're not giving me any stats whatsoever in terms of the number of people that are human trafficked, how many young girls are sex trafficked. You don't have a clue. You wouldn't even answer how many dead bodies, which is very well documented, at the border. Do you not care? Do you not have just an ounce of human compassion for what your open border policy, the type of human depredations it is causing? You just sit there looking with a blank look on your face.
So how bad is it?
And I have seen the evidence of kids being reused to create a family unit. Same kid over and over again. Rent a kid. Not humane. It's not 90% going to parents anymore. It's a third or less going to parents in today's statistics and numbers. Now, Ms. Rodas, you have said that the U.S. government is the middleman in a multi-billion-dollar migrant child trafficking operation. What did you mean when you used the term middleman?
So the United States government is receiving the children from the smugglers at the border. And HHS is a $2.7 trillion agency, and over the last 2 years has spent approximately $10 billion. So they are using that money to receive those children and then transport those children to the end user. I was shocked and I am stunned that there is no one with law enforcement experience overseeing where children are going. You have people applying for children who we know are members of transnational criminal organizations, yet there's no one with any data analytics background or anything like that overseeing this operation. When one individual can sponsor 20 or 30 or 40 people and no one's asking a question about it, there's something seriously wrong and flawed with that program.
OR releases him, they send him to Florida, he's over there hanging out with a fella, his sponsor, not a father, not a mother, just a sponsor. And what does he do? A few short months later, he kills him. He kills him. Now, I don't know what the protocol is down there, but when I look at this guy, he's got more chin whiskers than more 40-year-olds have. Look at that guy. Now, how does a guy like that get into this country as a minor?
You said these kids are being recruited in their home country. What do you mean by that?
There's an example of a sponsor who currently is in Austin, Texas at this moment. He attempted to sponsor 4 children, 1 from the Pomona Fairplex Emergency Intake Site and 3 from the Pecos Emergency Intake Site, promising work to these children who were making $2.50 a day on the coffee farm he owns in Guatemala. So he lured them here. The Department of Homeland Security has transnational criminal organizations on the TOC watch list, some of who got their fingerprints here in Washington, D.C. and neighboring areas, are sponsoring the children. It's indisputable. So the money goes to the trafficker who ultimately brings them here. The New York Times actually showed, I think Hannah Dreyer did an amazing expose where she actually showed the debt page of the child, how much the child had to pay for food, how much the child had to pay for rent. All of those things.
So the administration is really, we're engaged in creating slavery. We are trafficking slaves to this country.
Absolutely. There is no doubt. We have created a pull, and because this criminal element tragically views children as a commodity, they see us as the middleman because we're paying the flight directly to the end user, the trafficker. But then also the case managers who are not law enforcement, right? They're not investigative. They are receiving documents, photographs of documents on their WhatsApp phone. And there's a perfect example. A 20-plus-year-old man sponsored what we believed was his sister, who was only 16 years old. He submitted a birth certificate for himself and her as brother and sister. And then about 10 days after she's released, we see she's for sale on his WhatsApp page. You know, her shirt is buttoned down to her navel. She's all made up.
Democrats attempted to blame the Republicans, but the mountain of evidence only resulted in breaking their tiny little minds as Eric Swalwell embarrassingly attacked the whistleblowers.
Mr. Swalwell.
Thank you. Ms. Rodriguez, were you at the Capitol on January 6th? Did you ever cross any police barricades on January 6th?
Not that I'm aware of.
Did you ever see any violence on January 6th?
No, I did not.
January 6th, over 150 officers were injured. 1 lost an eye, 1 lost a finger, 1 lost a life, but you didn't see any violence?
No, sir, I did not. That was not my experience.
You agree, though, that violence against police officers took place that day?
Sir, I'm not quite sure what this has to do with the exploitation of children like the young girl who wore this band. I can only go by my personal experience. And I absolutely, if waving a flag and praying outside of the Supreme Court and standing outside waving a flag on public property is a crime, I'm not quite, again, I'm really not sure what relevance. We have children that are being raped using our taxpayer dollars. I'm not quite sure what this has to do with me waving a flag has to do with.
So you were among a crowd that did commit violence. And my question for you is, and I accept you at your word. You did not commit any violence that day. You didn't see any violence that day. Certainly, it's not a lie. It's not made up that 150 officers were injured. But my question is, to your credibility, will you condemn the violence that took place against the officers that day?
I absolutely condemn any violence, including the violence that is occurring at our southern border using our taxpayer dollars. Absolutely.
The gentleman yield for a moment.
No, I will not yield. So,
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Rodriguez, I apologize that you're here for a hearing on the border. They don't want to talk about a border. Mr. Swalwell is down there. Obviously, everybody knows he's made some comments. He's got a checkered past. He's alleged relationships.
A checkered past?
I
would ask.
It's my time. Alleged affairs, relationships with
No,
Yum
sir,
Yum.
you don't get to say that. That's not
He had
true.
alleged relationships with Yum Yum.
I asked the gentleman's words to be taken down.
Here's a minor solution. How about we take all of that dubious money piling up for reparations and actually put it towards slavery that absolutely exists in the here and now as we live and breathe?
You shifted from using the term mother to birthing people.
Black birthing people. Black birthing people. Black and indigenous birthing people.
Is the administration's official policy to replace the term woman with birthing people?
I was a little taken back when I just read it and saw it, that the term mother was gone in spots and it was replaced with birthing people.
Again, if we're trying to be precise in the language that's used.
Mom's a pretty good word.
Everything that's worth living and dying for is under attack right now.
This environment that has been created and corrupted and manipulated does not respect women, does not respect children, does not respect men. It cares nothing for family. If that is the society that we want to live in, then we need to see how crazy we are, really. The world is in the condition that it is in because of the disrespect of the woman. There's so much that we place around her because, as we are also taught, that when you teach a man, you are teaching an individual. When you teach a woman, you are teaching a nation. Every prophet came from the womb of a woman. Every intelligent, strong, powerful man and woman came from the womb of a woman. So that's why they have to attack mother and remove father, because before you can get to her, you have to get through him. Every wise nation has security, and the man is supposed to be that security. Can a woman secure too? Of course. Are there female warriors? Absolutely. However, because of her value, because a whole nation comes out of her, so you must be protected. And the man having that essential position by nature. So someone who knows that about you will do their best to make sure you are removed, because there is a standard of conditioning that has to take place. Man, woman, child. If I want to get to that, I have to remove your protector, because he is watching to make sure that everything that goes on in this environment is safe and secure. That's why they have to attack masculinity, because they know, damn, if there's real men around here, we can't really do what we want to do. And if there are real women, we for damn sure can't do what we want to do, because she's going to protect that child, he's going to protect that woman, and they both are going to protect society.